Hello everyone, 412 Sports Cards here today, back with another video. And today is the second interview ever on the channel. Today we've got Matt here with us, better known as Icy Ice Cards on IG. He's pretty prominent in the IG card community, has run a big business selling slabs, grading, and has given some great card advice out unselfishly. And without further ado, Matt, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate you having me and asking me to be on here.
Yeah, it's always fun to talk some cards, and it's cool to see someone around my age, who's
Yeah,
working it, because a lot of the guys I know are older, and it's cool to see someone like this.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I got some stuff on the docket, kind of just background and general, your experiences in the hobby, the kind of business you've run. Some of the way you've run your card business is kind of unique, and might be good to get into. And then probably wrap, more with thoughts on PSA, which I think is, probably for you a big deal. All the PSA changes.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't mind getting us started, just like if you can give your quick background in like the hobby, like when did you get started? How old were you, and what about it what brought you into the hobby? When was it, like the collecting, the flipping, or what was it?
Okay, yeah, sure. I really got into it off just buying, the $2 packs when that was actually a thing.
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of too bad it's not really anymore, but what really got me into it was when I'm a Tigers fan and the Tigers traded for Prince Fielder. And then Update came out. So Prince was in his Tigers uniform. And I went to the store and bought 2 packs of Update and got the Prince Fielder card um, with an Alex Avila jersey card, who was the catcher for the Tigers at the time. So I didn't even know what a jersey card was, but yeah, that just fascinated me how they put like the game used stuff in there. I just thought it was the coolest thing ever.
I feel that that's literally the same as me. Like I'd be going to the grocery store with my dad, and there were like the $2 packs of Tops, whatever, Series 1, Series 2. I wish I had been buying some update packs back in the day, but I didn't. It was just Series
Yeah.
1, Series 2, you know, hoping you'd find like just a random jersey card like that in the packs.
Yep. Yeah.
How far we've come.
Yeah, I know. You, yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, and I just used to put everything in binders because I mean, an autograph or anything didn't like mean much to me as far as value. Like you just wanted the players that you want, not
Yeah.
not an autograph or anything like that. And I remember that I pulled a uh, oh man, I think it was Philip Humber.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it was worth nothing. But then he pitched a no hitter. I believe it was him. I might be wrong on that, but
These names are throwbacks. I remember all this stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he pitched a no hitter, and I brought it to a card show, and it was bat in half. I mean, because I didn't take care of it. I mean, it just didn't mean anything to me, and um, some guy offered me $20 for it, so I was like, okay, and
Holy
I
crap.
took that and ran. So
Yeah, that's way back then. That's probably what this has got to be around 2010, probably, right? Maybe.
yeah, yep, probably right around there.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, up until the retail, like it is weird to think about nowadays with like kids not necessarily being able to find like those $2 just Tops packs in the store like
Yeah,
used to.
yeah, it's kind of too bad, but I think what I mean, if kids really want to get into it, I think card shows are just the place because I mean, there might not be the $2 packs anymore, but I mean, there's still the $2 bins or the dollar bins, and
Yeah.
I mean, that might be more fun for a kid too because you can get some, LeBron base card for $1 and be happy.
Yeah, I've never been to a show, but I need to.
Yeah.
When did you kind of make the transition from like, just like the collecting, like the, your assorted Tops pack, your favorite players here and there toward started to get more serious and into more like investing and flipping mindset that you kind of, run with right now?
Yeah, I think that really just came at a young age when I realized there was cards I wanted that I couldn't get. So the only reason I flip is just so I can afford that PC card, and I don't have to worry about, oh, I'm taking so much money out of my collection, and and like really what I do is I get my PSA subs back, sell it, and then reinvest about what I had into it. And then with the profit, I just buy a couple nice LeBron slabs or
Hmm.
Kobe or whoever I want for my collection at the time.
So is that kind of how you roll when you get when you run PSA subs? You're looking to like, I don't know, like take the basis and like just keep rolling that into more PSA subs, and then the profits what you kind of put towards your bigger like PC cards.
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
It's a good idea. I've never thought of it. I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I just, as a kid, it's not like you really have a source of income. So
Yeah.
if you want a card, I mean, there's no way to get it other than either find that, side job or whatever, or just flip cards and take your profits and do it with that.
Yeah, that's what I've been just rolling. I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I've just been rolling money for like it's like old Christmas money from like a long time ago that got put into some cards, and then eventually, you got your separate bank account, and then it's just like
Yep.
it's just that same money. It just goes round and round. It's kind of
Yep.
that same deal. I guess kind of moving into more of like I know you have like tons of slabs right now. Can you kind of explain how you got into slabbing that many cards and kind of I know you got some relationships with people who break a lot of wax and like they've gotten you clean raw cards for pretty good prices. Could you kind of touch on that and like how you built those relationships and kind of how important they are?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think the key is that the thing I like about grading the most is that I have no problem paying fair for a gradable card. And I think that works out for both sides. I don't have to buy everything at 60, 70% of eBay. If a card is clean at a show, I have no problem paying 105% if I know it's going to grade out. And I think that allows you to form relationships where it's like, if I'm the person selling that card, I think, wow, this guy pays fair. He's going to make money, but at least he pays me fair. Because if you don't want to grade a card, then that's your choice. And that's probably because of the amount of time it takes. So I'm willing to sacrifice waiting out that time in order to make a couple bucks, and it works out for both sides. And
Yeah.
I think that's the key that I just like about it is a lot of guys know that, hey, if I pull something out of my pack that's nice, he'll pay me market value for it. And I have no problem doing that.
Yeah, and you're paying market. Yeah, especially like for I mean, you wouldn't mind paying market at all for pack fresh cards
Oh,
because the market isn't on pack fresh cards. The market's on what's, may or may not have been looked over, you know what I mean?
exactly. I mean, honestly, even paying full eBay comps is a steal because those eBay cards are grading rejects.
Yep.
So it's kind of honestly a good deal to pay full eBay on a nice raw card.
Yeah, I agree. How do you reach out to people? Where do you kind of meet these people that you deal with? Just like shows or online or?
Yeah, a lot of shows. I think going to shows is just so valuable for cards. I really like seeing things before I buy it. It's just so hard online. I mean, and I can't just be one of those people that returns a card that I buy because I think it would nine. I mean, you can't do that.
No.
If you buy raw, you got to be fine with getting a card that's going to grade. I mean, I'd say probably a 7 or higher. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if there's a huge crease down the whole front, then okay, maybe that's a problem if the buyer didn't or the seller didn't disclose it. But if there's a tiny corner ding that makes it an 8 or a 9, you can't return that.
I
Like,
agree. I mean, I know a lot of people, I mean, you can kind of get away with anything, but I don't know. I feel like there's a responsibility to kind of hold up, to be an honest and respectable
yeah,
citizen on there. I don't know. I feel like you treat people right, that like people take notice, and it just, I don't know. I feel like your reputation's built with every interaction you have, you know what I mean? And like pinching a couple dollars here and there isn't worth it.
Yeah, and yeah, I just don't get why people aren't honest, because even from a business standpoint, you're often make more money when you're honest. There's no really added value in being dishonest, because in the short term you might make a couple $100 because you're ripping someone off, but you just lost all your connections down the road.
Yep, you
If you
sure
would
did.
if you would have been honest, I mean, you could have made 10 times the money down the road. So I think it's people just think about the now so much that
Yeah.
they're gonna lose sight of, hey, if I'm honest here, and I mean, I've had times where I'll buy a lot and the cards are really dinged or whatever, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna take a small hit on this, but you know what? When he pulls a clean raw card down the road, he's gonna be texting me first,
Yeah.
so
You
it'll all come back.
and I mean, and probably, and especially for you, I know you sell a lot direct on IG, right?
Yep.
Like some is the buyer's got to have confidence, to send payment first, and even a small, I don't know about you, but for me, even rumblings that someone might not have been honest always is enough to scare me, especially if it's big dollar stuff. You don't
Yeah,
mess
for
around.
sure. Yeah, I do a lot of consignment just because, as far as school goes, and I work part time, and I don't have time to list a 300 card PSA sub. But when I do sell, I mean, I have no problem giving someone a slab at a decent deal, and I've never had a problem with anybody sending me money because I've had a good reputation,
Yeah.
and no amount of money is gonna ever make me change that.
I agree. It's essential to kind of operating like this. I
Yeah.
guess kind of I know that I mean obviously the hobby's adapted and kind of changed a lot. I mean grading's gotten more expensive, grading times have gotten longer, which I know correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of your primary business model is just buying those raw cards, grading them, getting them sold fast and just keeping the cycle going. How have you kind of
Yeah.
adapted? Have you been moving to more expensive service levels to try to get the money back faster? And I know at some point you formed an LLC. If you could tell us about that, maybe a little bit too, that would be great.
Okay. Yeah. So I formed the LLC in December. Um, I talked to just a lot of people. I mean, it's important just to get advice about this, because the first thing I did was really just think to myself, you know what? I don't know enough about this. I'm not gonna make a choice based on my knowledge, really, because it's not enough. So we had a couple family friends that were lawyers and accountants that my parents knew. So I gave them calls and said, hey, like what happens if I do this? What are the advantages? What can I do? And I just found it to be worthwhile. Um, so that's why I did it. And then as far as the grading goes, I have moved somewhat into expensive service levels, but I really like the 45 day, even though it takes longer, because I don't mind waiting for things. I don't really go for the quick flip over and over and over. So
Mhm.
I might not be buying what's hot, but I'll be buying what I like a year from now. And I think it's important to have that mentality where, oh, LaMelo Ball dropped 50 yesterday. I better grade all his stuff. It's like, no, you're too late.
Yeah.
The 50-point game isn't going to matter when you get it back. I mean, if you like him long term, okay, then do it. But you can't do it off that 50-point game, because nobody's going to care in 4 months from now.
That's a great point. I never really thought about that, but like about like almost the idea that like increasing PSA like service level times, that like the time it takes for each service level kind of changes what you grade.
Yeah.
Like I never really considered that like the just the players like the hot stuff is kind of a little bit more scary than it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And like at the last card show, I think I walked away with some Acuna. Tatis, and I bought the Tatis Bomb and Chrome. I mean, those are at like $180 raw.
The 2016.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna chuck that into 45 because I like that card a year from now.
That's
Uh,
fair. And you can save, and at the volume that you grade, the differences in those service levels are enormous amounts of money.
yeah, I mean, either I can pay $26 and then sell it a year from now, and I still like the card. It might be higher than it is now a year from now, or I can pay $100 to grade it. And I mean, if I get a 9, I think I'm up maybe $20, and then if I get a 10, I mean, I make money, but kind of
Yeah.
eats into your profit a lot.
Yeah, I mean that's good perspective. The kind of just keeping that long-term mindset. It's something I definitely have trouble doing. It's tough to wait. I don't know. I almost find that like it's helpful to, I don't know, you just send the cards off and you just try to, forget almost that you have them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just operate with what you've got in hand, and you just kind of can't even really count on when that money is going to come back. Just, you just operate as if you don't have it right now. And then it's a nice surprise when it comes.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. I just say, forget about it, and then you're going to have a really good day when it comes back.
Yeah, I just had one yesterday, one from June, a bulk from June, or it might have even been May that I sent in, like just came yesterday. And I was like, you don't even expect it to come really, after that long,
Yeah,
forget
exactly.
about it.
Yeah, it's just a nice surprise.
Yeah. What were the advantages of forming the LLC? Is it just to what I mean? If an LLC would separate kind of the liability from your card business from your personal, your
Correct.
like the liabilities incurred in your card business that you couldn't, it couldn't. I guess that like any litigation couldn't target your own and personal assets, right? Is that the
Yeah,
main?
yeah, that doesn't do as much for me, um, just because my business is pretty much ran, out of my room, and
Yeah.
there's really isn't that many type of situations, but especially for people setting up at shows where, okay, a person's hand goes through your showcase, and they
Yeah.
cut up their whole hand, the glass does. I mean, that's a problem. So if you set up at shows frequently or really bring your cards a lot of places and interact with a lot of people, then I would consider that a little more valuable. But for me, it was a lot of just being taxed as an S corp saves you a lot of money in taxes, and I think there is value into being a legal business as far as even people trusting you. I mean,
Yeah.
if you can say, hey, I have an LLC and I run a company, I mean, it gets you a little more credibility than just saying, hey, I'm Icy Ice Cars on Instagram.
Yeah, I know it took you a while to get that too. And I guess it kind of shows. Yeah, you're not just here today, gone tomorrow. And
Yeah,
you're not just gonna, I don't know, you're not just gonna disappear after you rip someone off. You know what I mean? You've just got
yeah,
a name that you've invested in.
yeah, exactly.
That's, yeah, I guess also I'm kind of interested. I know you talked about it a little bit before about, being a student, being like doing work part time. What kind of strategies have you taken to kind of, obviously doing cards takes a lot of time, especially doing market research and stuff like that. How do you kind of balance that with, school duties and then like also work duties?
hmm Um, well, I think it is a priority for me that school does come first because I'm not going into this full time or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I get my school done first, and then after that it's just how can I be the most efficient with my time, and I do realize that some of that is going to have to be a little bit of a loss where I might not get as much from a consignment as I might get selling it myself. But if I don't send it out for consignment, then it's not going to get sold
Yeah.
because I don't have the time. So maybe that's costing me a little money, but I don't have the time to do it. So there's just certain things where you're going to have to bite the bullet a little bit and, send some cards out for consignment if you're not going to have time to sell them yourself.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, it definitely, I mean, you definitely have to pay, for some stuff. You pay a little more, but I don't know, time is valuable. And like, whether it be time for like other duties, whether it be time for like, I don't know, relaxing or like social, time with like friends and stuff like that, it's important to kind of, you know, make sure that you got time for that too. And I guess, yeah, that's a good way. I find it, I guess like Card Ladder, or, like a, what is it? What's that sport card investor one? I don't know what it's called. Market movers, like those types of things achieve a similar goal, I guess. It just takes, you pay for something that you could find, that you could do yourself, but like they've made it faster, and, someone who values their time a lot, it's just helpful.
Hmm. And I think it's important to realize what you enjoy because personally, I don't really like selling cards. It's not really that fun for me. So I'll have somebody else do that for me. And I'm on, like right now, I'm on spring break. So I told myself, hey, I'm going to take a break from cards. But something like this is enjoyable for me.
Yeah, it is fun to talk cards.
Yeah. So I don't like, I'm not like, oh man, I got to do this on spring break. It's more something to look forward to. Whereas if I had a stack of 100 cards that need to be sold, I would be like, ah, that's terrible. Yeah,
It is terrible. It is terrible. It's
yeah,
not a fast process. And
yeah,
I have recently come to hate it as well, because I don't know, the buying is fun. The buying part is fun. The
yeah,
planning to buy, even the planning what to sell is
yeah,
sometimes fun. But the actual selling is a miserable time, filled
yeah.
with eBay returns, in my recent past. And it is hard to break away from eBay.
Hmm. And I really like the consigners. I mean, because their money isn't made off you. I mean, their money is made off. They get the break on eBay fees. So
Yeah.
a lot of the times, if I send a card that's $500 plus to a consigner, I'm probably gonna net more than I would if I sold it myself.
Yeah, I know some of these people pay like certainly above 85%
Yeah.
on the big stuff. Where do you consign? I'm curious, because I never have, but I've thought of it.
I've only done a couple. I think I have an order out right now. That's my fourth one, and I've done it with the Wharf
Oh,
Sporting
that's
Goods.
the one that I've looked at. I've heard of the Wharf.
Yep, he is really good, and he actually just dropped a website on March 1 that I was checking out, and yeah, I've never had any problems. His communication's always been great, and that's what I value is just the communication of it all because there's all the people that say, hey, I'm trying to reach PWCC or Probstein and I can't get a hold of them for months. And
I can't
I
even
just don't
imagine.
want that.
And especially when I don't know, especially when you're dealing in a market that moves so fast, like
Yeah.
that service and the reliability. I mean, I know like with a smaller player like that is worth a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, when I have conversations with like some consigners, I just tell them I want a decent price, but I just want my money fast.
Yeah, I think that's what matters the most.
Yeah. And I mean, I sent my order out to Wharf before I left on spring break, and I've got a show on I think the 13th. So I want my money for that. And I
Yeah,
know that as long as the eBay auction guys pay and the money's in his hands, he'll get it to me. And I like that.
that and that's incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
I know Wharf doesn't operate in the same market, but like as like golden auctions, obviously. I mean, we're talking about primarily serving different segments of the population. But I was on a call once with Golden talking about maybe consigning something worth about 5K, and like the amount of time it takes to get that money back is insane. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they aren't really for the common man, who just kind of wants to get the money back and kind of just keep it running.
No, they're just for the people who want to sell something, but they already have their cash for the show on Saturday. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. They don't need that money. I mean, they would like it, but it's
Yeah,
not.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Because that money's locked up for like, that could be, it's almost locked up for like 2 months
Yeah.
there, because it's locked up until they run the auction, during the auction, because then your card's just chilling. And
Yeah.
then payouts take like 3 weeks to a month, which is nuts.
And it's not a 5-day auction. I mean, it's a
No, it's like weeks.
yeah, those auctions are 2 to 3 weeks and sometimes even longer.
It's
Just
insane.
crazy, yeah.
I mean, I guess for the cards at the top, it makes sense. But yeah, if you don't, I'll be interested to see what they do. They're talking about trying to compete with eBay, but it's hard to beat, like just getting your money out faster, especially if you got someone like Wharf, helping you out and, doing the listing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's most of the stuff that I wanted to get through. But if you could, I guess, just, what are your thoughts on kind of just the sports car market going forward? How do you view it? Do you kind of look at things with like a short term, like this is what I'm thinking in 1 month, this is what I'm thinking in 2 months, or do you look at it more in a holistic, 1 year plus, timeline? How do you think about the market right now and going forward?
I just like to think of everything in the longer term. I mean, I think there's money to be made in the short term for sure. I mean, there's people killing it in the short term. It's
Yeah, there
crazy.
are.
But I mean, especially as a student where I can't put a ton of time into it, I just like to think, okay, do I like this card a year from now or do I not? Because I'm not going to have time to sift through my
Yep.
hundreds of cards and be like, okay, pull this out, list it, pull it. I just don't have time for that.
That's what
So,
I used to do, and I can't do it
yeah,
anymore. I just don't
no,
have time.
ex-
It's been that. I used to do like, I used to do all the prospecting. I just don't have time to watch the box scores, each night. And frankly, kind of goes back to what you've been saying. I don't have the time to list a ton. So that's how I've ended up in just higher dollar stuff too. It just,
yeah.
time.
And I'm in the same boat. I got out of prospecting as well. I mean,
Had
obviously you
to.
have guys like Wander and Dominguez where okay, those are different.
Yeah.
But I really don't have time to buy those $5 Bauman Chrome autos and hope they go to 15. I mean,
This is literally what I used to do. This is
yep,
literally,
yep,
that's where I started. I started when I first started to get like sort of serious, it was with Bowman Chrome autos like that, flipping
yep.
cheap Bowman Chrome autos. And eventually I moved into basketball, but like, that's what I used to do too. And like, it was okay when you didn't have as much work and as much responsibility.
Yeah, yep. I'm same boat. I mean, yeah, all the prospecting and stuff is great, and you could make a killing on it if you know your stuff.
Yeah.
I think for like an educated person in that market, that's probably where you can make the most money.
Oh yeah.
Because
The margins are insane.
oh yeah, and I think the most overrated thing in that market too is the major leagues. I mean, I used to make a killing off selling guys when they'd go from double A to triple A.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is a throwback. I
Yeah,
forgot about all this. You wait for those promotions
yeah,
and
and the
then,
cards are
yeah.
so crazy.
I always
And
used to sell. I always used to get nervous after they get promoted that they were going to suck. And then
yeah,
I'd sell it when they got promoted. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I used to do too. Because you can, I mean, when you're young, I mean, even now the profit is profit. I mean, just take it and move into something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this was good talking to you today. I think we'll probably wrap it here.
All
But
right.
thank you for coming on. Anything you want to shout out before you go?
Uh, no, Instagram, Icy Ice Cards, and yeah, I'll just say one piece of advice I guess would just be to the find your local shows and get involved that way. I mean, it's a good way to make money, but I mean, some of my best friends have been from local shows, so and I value that way more. So
Yeah.
it's all been a good time.
Yeah. That's good advice. Anyways, thank you, Matt.
Yep, no problem.